Take a guess. 9:05, we are glad you're here on KCMO. Take a guess as to which age group is most enthusiastic and most supportive right now of the President of the United States. Would you think it's the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, or the 70-plus age group? What would you guess?
I was thinking more gender than demographics, oddly enough, though.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people would say maybe it's 40s, 50s, 60s.
Yeah, I'm thinking the reproductive right thing gets a lot of action.
Yeah.
So, 30s and 40s would be my guess, observation based on all the rattling you hear.
Yeah. Well, you would be right with one of those two. The age group that is most supportive of President Trump, based on this new poll from Real Clear Politics, are those in their 30s. That's right.
Excellent.
Let's go.
Woo!
That's right. Proudly representing that group. I will say that, you know what? We know a thing or two, I guess, don't we, in our 30s?
Well, what's the adage about being in your 30s? The liberal thing?
Oh, yeah.
We've quoted a couple of times. I'm not good with it. But
If you are not a liberal at 25, you have no heart.
Okay.
If you're not a conservative at 55, you have no brain.
55.
Well,
okay.
It can be 45. You can make it whatever you want.
Sure.
But how about this? Here are the numbers. This was done by Real Clear Politics. Right now, Trump has an approval of 44 and a disapproval of 44, so it's tied there. 18 to 29-year-olds support Trump by 2 points, 42-40. 30 to 39-year-olds support Trump by 9 points, 43-34. Those 40 to 49 are tied at 45 apiece. 50 to 59-year-olds plus 3 for Trump. 60 to 69 plus 5 for Trump. And then the 70-plus crowd, it falls off a cliff. Trump is minus 14 with the washed-up hippie crowd, 70-plus. Everybody else, he's tied or above water, and those aged 30 to 39 is the age group where Donald Trump does his best. So if that's you, it's me. If that's you, well, congratulations. This is the age group 30 to 39, based on a recent poll from Real Clear Politics of registered voters, where Donald Trump has the strongest support. Now, why might that be? Because this is an age group that largely grew up with Barack Obama, right? 8 years of Barack Obama, for many of us in our 30s, that was possibly our first vote for president. I mean, I know it was for me as I approached 37. And if you're 39, you go back to 2008, which is 17 years ago. You're 22, so it's maybe your first or second vote for president if you did vote. And if you're 30, well, let's see, 12 years ago would have been 2013. Maybe if you're, 31, 32, Obama's reelection would have been potentially your first vote for president. And it was young people that were wildly enthusiastic about Barack Obama, right? You go back to 2008. It was your grandma and your grandpa who were all on John McCain and Mitt Romney. And it was the grandkids or the kids who were like, Obama's the guy. We love him. New face, fresh face, hope and change, the whole thing. That's how we grew up. That was our introduction to politics on a national level. And now we're the group that supports Donald Trump the most of any age? Why? Well, one, we saw the failures. And all we know in our lives when it comes to Democratic presidents are Barack Obama and Joe Biden, right? And, of course, Biden was Obama's VP. So that's all we know. Those are the only people in our voting lives who have been the president for the Dems. And they both were failures in their own ways. Obama came in with this great hope and change message, and he became wildly divisive. Race relations in this country went up for 50 years. Obama got in. We were told that it was the start of officially a colorless country, and race relations then went down once he got into office. He had an opportunity to really bridge that and put race in the past, and he only made it worse. It has trended downwards when it comes to race relations since Obama's time in office. Not because he was there, but because of how he handled a lot of key issues when he was there. Michael Brown over in St. Louis. Trayvon Martin. Trayvon could have been my son. So there's the cultural side of it, right? And then there's the economic side of it. And that's where Joe Biden enters in. When Obama was president, for many of us who are in our 30s, we're just trying to figure out life. We're early in our careers. We're not, starting families yet. We're not necessarily married yet. We don't have kids. We're not raising kids. We're not buying homes. But we saw the cultural failures of that administration. We experienced Trump. A lot of young people weren't on board with Trump at the time. Obviously, I was, but a lot of young people weren't. And then they get 4 years of Joe Biden. And under 4 years of Joe Biden, they experienced, obviously, the worst inflation that we've experienced since the late 1970s, when those of us in our 30s were not alive. And it's like, wow, I am seeing firsthand the failures economically of big government. We are seeing the failures that, for many people, they had to see firsthand and experience firsthand to believe that this stuff and these policies don't work. Because I imagine for a lot of them, they were like, oh, yeah, this, $15 an hour minimum wage, Bernie Sanders, Occupy Wall Street, the whole thing. It was like rah-rah, man. I mean, these are, once again, Obama voters largely from 10, 15 years ago. And now the 30 to 39-year-old, per this Real Clear Politics poll, is the biggest supporter of Donald Trump. These are folks who right now are, starting families, trying to buy that first home. The average age now for the first-time home buyer is 38. That is older than it's ever been since they started tracking this stuff about 40 years ago. It always kind of hovered between 28 and 31. It's now 38 for first-time home buyers. They can't afford it. They've seen the failures of the last 4 years. They've seen maybe, they begin to have families, and they're realizing how expensive everything is. And they're seeing how the guy in charge for the last few years just totally let them down on all of the economic issues that he promised to fix from the last guy. And suddenly they're looking at 2017 up until COVID hit, and they're like, you know what? Can we just get back to those economic times? So that's why I'm looking at this 30 to 39-year-old age range, and I'm saying I'm in it. And I know, obviously, how I feel. I've got 4 hours to talk about that every day, but clearly it's resonating across the country as the 30 to 39-year-old starts getting into the real world of adulthood, so to speak, with kids and mortgages and, building careers and things of that nature. And they're like, you know what? I'll take this guy because I know what I saw work with my own two eyes a few years ago. And if I want to try to achieve to the same levels financially as my parents did, as baby boomers, well, I know I'm going to need this guy and his policies to make that happen.